Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Ausra.
Let's start episode 248 of Ask Vidas and Ausra podcast. This question was sent by Jeremy. And Jeremy is on our team of people who transcribe our podcast conversations. So one day he wrote that he received a word that he passed the CAGO examination from the American Guild of Organists. And I asked him what the requirements were, and he writes, I found out about 3 years ago that I need some type of long-term goal to work towards in my life. The easiest thing was to become certified in something. It began with my Masonic organization, which I received a Masonic Instructor in the state of Iowa. I have been playing the organ for church for about 10 years now, and 2 years ago I decided to take it more seriously by seeking out a teacher. Dr. Christiansen got me involved in the local AGO chapter and encouraged me to work towards the service playing certification and continued my education to get the colleague certification. We now have a blood pact. If I take the associate exam next year, he will take the fellow exam. That being said, the certification program up to this point has been very practical for me as a church musician. Standard repertoire that I have used quite a bit in the service. Hymn playing, transposing passages of music, sight reading, harmonization, and improvisation. All of these things I have used at some point in the last year. The most work for me came in the improvisation and transposition portions of the exam. I was introduced to this in the past, but it always remained theoretical and not practical. I have now incorporated these into my daily practice sessions. Your courses have helped out a lot with them, but I still have miles to go. 3 pieces of repertoire: Bach In Diris Freude, Perry Choral Prelude on Omnium Christe Redemptor, then Alain Variations on a Theme of Clément Jeannequin, 2 anthems, Britton's Jubilate Deo and Duprez Ave Maria, improvising on 8ish bar piece modulating between 2 keys, sight reading a short 3-staff piece, harmonizing a folk tune, short prelude and hymn playing on 2 hymns, transposing a hymn into 2 keys, a half step up and a step down. The improvisation and transposition were the most difficult part. I'm reviewing your transposition course and your prelude in Baroque style course. Also, the complaints for the most part were about tempi, too slow. So, let's congratulate Jeremy about this great achievement, right, Ausra?
True. It takes courage, to do something like this.
We have a colleague, his name is Paulus, and he also wants to take AGO service playing certificate test. And he needs to practice and he needs to focus his efforts during the year, learn a lot of repertoire. And I know that it's a challenge for him too.
Yes, it seems like he is postponing it all the time.
Yes, I haven't heard about his decision lately to take this test. Maybe we should ask him. But Jeremy took AGO colleague certification exam and passed actually. So that's a big achievement. And next year, maybe if he has this motivation with Dr. Christiansen to take associate exam, then it would be also a wonderful big step forward.
True. I think it's wonderful that America has this, program, and that you can get a certificate without, entering to the university or college.
And plus, he has this, let's say, blood pact. As he writes, with Dr. Christiansen. And when you have a mentor like this who is also involved in taking exam, maybe at the fellow level, they both motivate each other, right?
True.
And that's probably invaluable to have a partner in crime, so to say.
I think that way is easier to achieve something, than to do it alone on yourself.
Yes, that's why we figured out we need to have those improvisation competitions for people to advance together, to learn to improvise together, to on Steam it. And also Jeremy writes that improvisation and transposition were the most difficult part. Why do you think this was the case, Ausra?
Well, because these are the hardest, requirements to transpose and to improvise.
And why do people struggle with this? Why can't people, let's say, transpose as easily as they can sight read?
Well,
it's a stupid question, I know.
That's
I
an
know.
interesting question. I guess it depends on how hard the piece is itself. Sometimes it might be harder to sight read, and sometimes it might be harder to transpose. But transposition, I think it's something inside us that prevents us, because we sort of look at that assignment as a hard one, but it's not that hard. Transposition is not that hard. You just need to do it regularly. Maybe take some exercises in the C clefs. That would help you to improvise easier, or to transpose easier.
Uh-huh.
And of course, transposition, the skill of transposition will help you to improvise too.
Would you think that improvisation would help to transpose too?
Yes, I think these two assignments are related somehow.
Because when you improvise, you need to transpose the theme.
True.
A lot of times.
True.
And when you transpose, you don't need to improvise, but you need to read the music and to move it to another either clef or key or position on the stave. So this skill, of course, we develop with improvisation, moving the melody around, and that's why it helps with improvisation, with transposition.
True, and when transposing, you need to know that there are 3 ways to transpose, and each time you need to select which way is more comfortable in a given situation.
For example,
as Jeremy wrote, that he needs to, for example, transpose half step. Usually that's the easiest way to transpose, when you only need to transpose a half step, because then you just change in your mind the key signatures. Let's say if you need from D major to transpose to D flat major, you just change them in your mind to sharps with 5 flats.
And 2 plus 5 equals 7.
True.
So the sum of those accidentals when you do this half step is always 7.
And most of the time you can do that. Of course, you will say that, okay, if I have G major and I need to transpose, half step higher, how I would do it. You can still do it. In that case, you will have to imagine to the key signature 6 sharps and 1 double sharp, because it would be, the key of G sharp major. and it still works. I think some of the piano composers, such as Chopin, used this key, occasionally in their compositions.
Yeah, you're right. And what would be the last way to improvise, to transpose?
Well, the second way would be, to change the clef.
To change.
From, I don't know how well you are, acquainted with C clefs, but basically using those 5 C clefs, you can transpose pieces in any way.
And F clefs, you need F clefs too. So on the first line we have soprano clef. On the second line we have mezzo-soprano clef. On the third line we have alto clef. What else?
Then tenor clef on the fourth line, and then above you have the baritone clef.
And what kind of C we are talking about?
And C clefs always marks, the C note of middle octave. So if you have, the soprano clef, so it means you have C note on the lowest line of the staff.
And there are 3 F clefs, right?
Yes. The one that we know so well.
Bass clef.
Bass clef.
Which is F on the fourth line.
True.
Then F in the middle, on the middle line, which is called baritone clef. And then the one on the fifth line, it's called basso profondo clef, which is the lowest.
Yes.
But all 3 clefs indicate tenor F, either on the third line, fourth line, or the fifth line.
And there is also, the old French treble key.
Treble clef.
Treble clef, yes, which is, located on the first line.
So this is G clef then?
Yes, this is the G clef.
On the first line.
Basically, 2 G clefs, then 3 F clefs, and 5 C clefs.
Oh, so there are total only 10 clefs, right? You only need to know 10 clefs.
I know.
And if you know 10 clefs, you know everything.
And it seems hard at the beginning, but if you work with those clefs, then transposing will become very easy at the end of it. And then, of course, you can always, transpose on a given interval. And you use this system when you need to transpose, probably to change, like, by major third or, a fourth.
Whatever interval you want. Not more than perfect fourth or a tritone, because perfect fifth is inversion of the fourth.
True.
Excellent. Guys, please try it out at home. It's not dangerous. You will not hurt yourself. Unless you do it too much, and then what happens, Osha?
I don't know. You will get sick probably.
I see. Okay. This was Vidas.
And Osha.
And remember, when you practice,
miracles happen.